Good afternoon, everyone. Eric Shree. I'm an associate at ESG on the post-secondary attainment team. As Christine mentioned, we'll be talking about seamless pathways that accelerate. I'll be starting at a high level, just kind of doing some level setting, bringing up Michigan context, and then Christine will talk more about the actual types of models. Do want to be really clear first, though, we're not recommending any one type of model. Just want to bring up guiding principles, features, experiences that we believe are part and parcel to these models. Also want to say that we've collected case studies and looked at institutions who are exemplars across the nation. So if you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out. And then finally, that any of these pathways and models that we're talking about really need to be communicated to adult learners so that they know the importance and understand how to use these things as well. I want to move to the next section, which is just want to focus in on, make a little note on language. We will be talking about non-credit programs. And just for clarity, want to say that when we're talking about non-credit programs, we're talking about industry-focused technical training types of programs, not continuing ed type of programs. I also want to say that non-credit programs, non-credit in particular, is deficit-based language. And while we've sort of looked for other terms, things like workforce credit, believe that that sort of terminology still has some limitations. And for the purposes of this presentation, we're going to continue to use the term non-credit programs. Also, for degree programs, we're talking about those types of programs that lead to an associate, applied associate, or bachelor's degree. And then we're talking about pathways, just that they have a clear route, identified steps from one program to the next. And these pathways aren't sitting in an advisor, these maps aren't sitting in an advisor's desk, but are being communicated to adults, that they're being internalized, and that they're clear and sequential. Moving to the Michigan landscape analysis, first, just want to give credit to MCACS for an incredible report, and you can find these numbers and this work in that report. But 2.5 million Michiganders that lack a post-secondary credential. And this is particularly important in a state that has a declining population, has a declining high school graduating class, and where 39% of Michigan households live at or below the ALICE threshold for household survival. As well, I want to talk about the 1.6 million some college no degree students, particularly in a state like Michigan that has had an economic model that's worked from high school to workforce. You have 1.16 million, Michiganders who have attempted college, who were unsuccessful, who may be having, questioning that decision, also just questioning the value of higher ed. So really important number, as well as 5.5 or 5% increase in some college no degree between 2021 the 2021 academic year and the 2021 and 2022 academic year. Like to also just quickly go into Michigan transfer data. So, we have community colleges here. We have four-year institutions, and 80% of bachelor degree holders in Michigan have taken a course at a community college, as well as for any Michigan community college students who've transferred to a four-year, receive their bachelor's degree. They're leaving on average with 30 excess credits. So obviously some friction in that pathway. And this is particularly important, again, for adult students who lag traditional age students by 17 percentage points when it comes to earning a certificate, a degree, or transferring to a four-year institution. This was also work done by CCRC, who's mentioned a lot in the SOVA presentation. Just want to point that out as well. Moving on to the next slide. So when we talk about what defines a high quality accelerated pathway, some of these features are, right, we're fast tracking students as quickly as we can into credential or degrees into high demand careers. It is of minimal or no cost to students when and where possible. We're also addressing barriers that ensure equitable access and participation. So think about childcare support or high flex or flexible scheduling, things along those lines. And from the student experience, especially important for adult learners, having integrated work-based learning experiences. This could be anything from job shadowing to micro internships, could be on the job training, but whatever, having some sort of connection to work. Again, making sure that these college courses are sequential and make sense. And then finally, that college advising and career advising are also embedded into this type of pathway work. Moving on to the next section, I did want to bring back the self-assessments that you did at the beginning of this design lab. Want to say we're going into some of these, so we just wanted to bring up the importance of all of these. So 80% of respondents for the self-assessment talked about credit for prior learning. 62% talked about using LMI data as a priority, and then 60% had creating alignment between their credit and non-credit pathways as a priority. So as we go into these later, the things that Christine will be bringing up, just want to highlight the importance of all of these. So moving on to labor market information, I'm going to be really quick here. I just want to provide a visual representation. You've heard me talk a lot about labor market information already and sort of gone into the nuts and bolts of it. So I just want to provide kind of a visual pathway so people can kind of get a sense and understanding of this. For any of the visual learners out there. When we look at the right-hand side, we're looking at those in-demand, high skill, high wage types of jobs, occupations that we're using labor market information to find. And then we can sort of backwards map, what are the pathways where an adult might enter and what is the pathway that it's going to look like for them. So majority of your adults are probably at the very top stream, in work already, and then are thinking about joining either through apprenticeship or some kind of training program, maybe going into a 2-year degree program, or maybe going into a 4-year from there. You may have some adults who don't have a high school degree, and there are certainly avenues like adult basic ed using IET programs and things along those lines, but likely it's a lot of your sort of top level at work already and sort of the pathway through to some type of occupation and career. And so I will pass it off to Christine now so she can follow up.